Okay, so this is literally take number 7. As you can see, the girls just went upstairs. My daughter was on a completely different schedule today. I have 2 different earrings, and that's a style, so don't judge me. I'm trying to be fashionable. Oh my goodness. Breathe. So, welcome back to my channel, guys. I just want to first start off. This is answering the last video that I made about racism in Germany. In my experience, I just want to start off by saying just that this is just my experience. People may have different experiences, better or worse, but I do want to just say that I am not some sort of anthropologist. I'm not some expert in human behavior other than my own experience. So this is also not to say that this is supposed to make people feel bad, or to be some sort of like platform for complaining about whatever situation you might be in as a minority. And this is really not an anti-white thing or an anti-Germany thing. Personally, I feel like it is no worse here than it is where I come from in Belize. I grew up in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood in San Ignacio, Cayo, and a lot of what I've experienced here in Germany is really testament to similar things that I have experienced in Belize. So, let's get started. So, one of the first PMs that I got like a little while before I actually made this video was from a friend of mine who visits Belize often. He was saying to me that it's just so overwhelming to have to always deal with, you know, the political correctness of relationships, and everybody wants to be a unique, special snowflake and say that they're pansexual, transsexual, and that's a completely different thing. Your sexuality is a completely different thing from race. But it's all this political correctness where people feel so afraid to say anything anymore because everybody's always offended about something. So this is not that either. Although I can identify and understand how it can be so overwhelming because you feel like there's no room for jokes, there's no room for flirting, there's no room for compliment. A compliment might be easily taken the wrong way because the person might find it offensive, and so you're all constantly having to clarify and verify what it is you're really trying to say and get across to another person. So I think that establishing boundaries for that reason is really important. What might work for some people might not work for everybody else, but I think that there are common threads across the board that doesn't need to be really explained. Like, why would you, for example, there was a situation earlier in the year with the H&M brand who had posted something about, you know, the coolest monkey in the jungle. I don't I don't make it a habit of calling people monkeys. I myself have been called that as a child growing up, specifically related to race, so I don't really find that funny at all. Sorry. But I know some of my white friends who call their kids that, and I was just like, You know, my daughter was called that here at school because she wore her hair in an afro, and she has never done that. She's never worn her hair in an afro since then. So we're still working through that that trauma, you know. So not everybody is cool with that. So you as a person of color have to establish if you're cool with people using certain kind of language or certain kind of references. And then there are other people who are just like, you know, they really don't care. What I do want to say is in reference to my other my next PM message was from a lady who has some I'm still going to use the word biracial. She commented about me saying biracial or mixed race. We're all one human race, and I really appreciated her saying that because I feel like that is really where I want to go with this conversation in light of us all being the same, having the same goals, dreams, and aspirations. Everybody just wants to be heard and happy and to be able to live their true self. Now, having said that, it is very important for you to understand what is living your true self and having a space to do that, and having people understand what that means for you might not be what it means or meant for your parents. So my daughters living their true selves is similar to the experience that I have had as a person of Black African descent, because they're also that, but they're also a person who has European blood. Now that may mean, specifically for my two daughters, that they have to be aware of stuff like sunscreen. You know, that wasn't an issue for me growing up because you could spend 3-4 hours in the sun and not get sunburn. But that is an issue for them. So I would be an irresponsible parent if I did not come to the table learning that, if I didn't know it for myself, learning that for them, that, hey, you know, when you go out in the sun during the summertime, make sure you sunblock yourself so you're not frying into a lobster. Mommy doesn't have that issue because mommy's different. Now, my older daughter has kinky curly hair. If I were a white female and her dad was Black, you know, her dad, you know, goes to the barbershop, gets his hair cut. I, you know, do a wash and go or do a wash and blow dry. But my kid cannot do that to her hair because her hair is totally different from mine. And in this day and age, and as someone of Black African descent, I mean, I don't have that problem because I know my hair, as we say, my kitchen, inside out. And that is valuable information for a young lady to know how to take care of her hair. Now, I might say it's well and good to be, you know, and I'm not going to go on too much about this message, but I might say that it's all well and good to say that we're all one human race, but we need to learn to embrace our differences, accept, appreciate, and learn and understand what those differences are. Second of all, I tend to want to shy away from the idea or the ideology that we are raising our children for ourselves. We're raising our children to live in this world, and so as someone who has to, especially if you're going to do it in Germany, who has to raise their child as somebody who is a minority, you have to teach your children how to be able to create boundaries, understanding, and develop a sense of who they are so that they have the strength to stand in that as a minority. So that child can come into society and say that, hey, you know, yeah, I'm different, but we're all one human race. But not blindly saying, why don't you accept me? I don't understand. My mama didn't teach me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be really careful when you start using those kinds of terminologies, and make sure that it's not coming from a place of dismissal, because dismissal teaches your child that they don't really matter as an individual, and that the things that make them different from everyone else, it's not relevant and significant. And you, like I said before, are not raising your child just for yourself. You're raising them for other people as well, and to live in society. And you cannot do that. You can't expect your child to function in society if you don't teach them how to also be an individual and a part of society, dealing with adversity and racism, because it does exist. And that also means, and I love my friend for saying this, whoop, whoop, Matt, hey, that we, not we, me, but we as white people do ourselves a great injustice by saying that racism doesn't exist when we benefit from white privilege. So if I were a white female raising biracial children, because I don't know what else to call it, you know, your child knows that there's a difference between you and him or her. And there's a way of acknowledging that difference without making the child feel bad. And what that moves me to my next point of order. I'm here. I made some notes because I didn't want to miss anything out. How to deal, you know. I, as a young girl growing up in Louisiana in the south of the United States of America, I was made fun of because of my accent, because of my nose, because of my lips, because of my, just all of that, People used to pull my hair because they found it strange that black girl could have such long hair, and they called me predator, and, kids used to spit on me and call me bozo and pinch me. The list can go on and on and on and on. The bottom line is that I was bullied, and I found comfort. Yeah, you hear them? They are just not having this mommy working thing today. So I found a safe place. I have a safe place at home, and I always knew that that safe place was there for me to come, where I can rest my head, share my woes, and build my strength back up, and learn from a place of love, and especially from a place of understanding and empathy, where I felt like this place I could just be myself, and that place was my home. My mother and father made sure that regardless of what I was told out there, they knew and believed in me, and they knew that I was beautiful, and they always told me that. And it was a hard journey to that in the beginning. But what my mother did, which I find is really important, whether you're the black parent or the white parent in the relationship with your child, it is important for you to teach your child self-love. And self-love can mean, like my daughter has like a black girl spa day. She invites her friends, and they get their shea butter and their coconut oil, and they switch recipes for taking care of their hair, because our hair is a political statement. And you with your straight hair cannot understand that if you don't take the time out to research that, because the industry, as much as we spend on it as women of black African descent, does not cater to us. It does not. And when it does, it costs, and it costs a lot. So please acknowledge that, especially if you have young brown-skinned girls with that kinky, beautiful curly hair that doesn't lay down, it stands up. You need to be equipped to give her the space and place to learn how to take care, embrace, and love that, because that is a part of who she is. And that is the difference. That doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It can be a beautiful thing. I mean, our days when we take care of our hair is a self-love day. It's a day of expressing and loving who we really are, and not trying to put it to shame or hide it, but embracing it and caring for it. And so that leads me to my last point, because I could go on and on hair alone. It is so political. But I will say, for my girls who were asking about what to do, there is this really cool documentary from Chris Rock called, oh my goodness, no, this is not happening. It's called Good Hair. And that's something that, every mother needs to equip themselves with, in terms of the beauty industry and how it has demonized African hair of black African descent, or just kinky curly hair. So the next thing would be is to get healthy, positive role models, so that your child, I can't express that one enough, because your child knows from a very young age. And I'm going to tell you a really silly, stupid story. My nephew, who is also biracial, mixed race, was visiting my brother, for a while in Belize, and he and I were sat on the couch, and I went into the bathroom, and I shoved some chocolate in my mouth because I didn't want to share. Sorry, I'm a terrible auntie sometimes. And so I came out, and I was singing to him, whatever was on the TV, and he looked up at me, and he lifted the TV, and he just started to look around, and he was like, "Now I understand, auntie, you are made of chocolate." He didn't understand that I ate the chocolate, and that's what he was smelling. He was just like, "No, you're made of chocolate. That's why you're different from me." Kids know this, okay? They know it from before they can even talk. They know what brown is. They know what white is. They know what straight hair is. They know what kinky hair is. So don't make them feel like, they will know that there is no one that looks like them. They will know when there are people that look like them. They will know that there is something different about what's at home and what's outside. And The minute you start to intentionally cultivate relationships that can help them feel at peace and in love with who they are, the better and happier they will be as individuals. So I want to leave everybody with that. Please like, comment below, and subscribe to my channel. Tell me what you guys want this conversation, what direction you guys want this conversation to go in, because I love talking about this kind of stuff from a very positive angle. So thank you so much, and we'll see you again next time.